Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen, and finally it's time to review the quarterfinals of the Race of Champions. The first matchup we saw was between the two Kiwis, Murph and Rafa, and which one would advance to the semi-finals. The final four is on offer to the victor. And the first round's at Monaco, and starting in front was Rafa, but he left the door open there at Mirabeau for the Toro Rosso of Murph, and he gets down the inside, defends the line at the hairpin there, and the McLaren all over the rear wing of the Toro Rosso now as Rafa tries to get back through. He's going around the outside of Casino, and he's made around the outside of Mirabeau perhaps. Murph trying to shut the door, but he's down the inside of Lowe's, and just like last lap the lead changes. Who says he can't pass at Monaco? And while Murph is trying to catch up, he's lost the rear, he's tapped the wall at Portier, and that's going to give Rafa the first round of this best of three format. Their next matchup was at Suzuka, and this time Murph started in front. He maintained the lead through turn 1, and at turn 2 there was contact between them as Murph got slightly spun by Rafa, and Rafa came out worse than that, but did catch up by the next lap and tried to go around the outside this time, but there was nothing there available, and he'd get a good run out of the corner, but Murph had enough traction to make it to the S's in front. Rafa tried to catch up and made a couple of mistakes there at the Degners, going wide and then completely cutting the second one. But by the end of the lap he caught up again, and Murph was very defensive on the main straight, using his one move to good effect and keeping the inside line, and kept the lead until Spoon of the final lap, and he would need to keep this to keep his Race of Champions alive, and he keeps defending, and it's really difficult for Rafa to get through. He's a bit on the grass, and he's gone out wide at 1:30, and that should be all she wrote for this particular race, and Murph evens the leader at 1-all. What a battle this has been so far. The final race is going to be at Austria, and nothing really happens on the first lap until Rafa in his Ferrari runs wide, and Murph takes the lead, but Rafa gets a good run out of the first turn on lap 2 and tries to go around the outside at turn 2. He has to go off the track to avoid the sabre of Murph. Murph gets good traction off the corner, but it's not done as they're still side by side. It looks like Rafa's got a little bit less downforce and manages to go around the outside. Next one, there's contact, further contact. Rafa goes slightly off the track there, and Murph takes the lead back, but he's not got the best line into this next turn, and the Ferrari slips past. And unfortunately for us neutrals, Rafa just drove away, and there was nothing Murph could do to avoid elimination from the competition. We move on now to Stylen versus Naughties. Naughties, a bit of a surprise packet, getting through to the quarterfinals. Of course, actually Naughty Girl, as we found out. And Stylen started in front for this one at Canada, and we were surprised to see that despite Stylen being a seasoned veteran, a champion in his own right, Naughty's a newcomer, actually kept up until missed the final lap, making quite a massive mistake there. I mean, props for keeping it out of the walls after hitting that wall first up, but losing a lot of time, and Stylen was able to drive away on that final lap to a fairly easy last lap and first round victory against the female competitor. They moved on to Catalonia, and this time it was Naughties with the higher position on the grid, and Stylen struggled in the dirty air to keep his car from understeering off at turn 3 on not just the first lap but also the second lap, looking back here from the catering, and that really allowed Naughties to have a fairly easy and trouble-free race to even the ledger at 1-all and take this to a deciding round in the US. And Naughties was unlucky to start behind on 2 out of 3 occasions, and a really decisive piece of the action here was this wide line through the chicanes, losing a lot of time there on the first lap, but managing to catch up surprisingly to Stylen and actually going side by side through this final sector here. A great piece of driving from both the McLaren and Caterham drivers. A tiny little bit of contact though, putting Naughties offline, and unfortunately for her, that was as close as she got to Stalin. The experience shining through, and great racing from both of them though, but Stalin ultimately defeating Naughties in a 2-1 effort and progressing to the semi-finals. The third matchup was HSV against myself, and HSV actually starting on pole in all 3 of our races. I was slightly giving away that it's going to be a 2-1 result to one of us, but nevertheless, the first race was at Spain and I was on the inside towards turn 1, but the outside line was a little bit better due to the fact that he had a little bit of an advantage in terms of being slightly ahead. On the second lap I had a go as well at turn 1 and there was a little bit of contact, so I made sure I didn't pass him there. That would have been quite unfair of me. But on the final lap it was really time to get something done. Nowhere else really to pass on this track other than this really long straight, and I got it down there, made the move stick. I didn't expect him to appear on the outside there from cutting completely that first complex, and that was supposedly him letting me through there by going wide, but that didn't happen, and finally he actually let me through at the end of the lap, which wasn't really a smart move from him, because it didn't give him any time to get back past me, and sort of a formality in the last sector for that first victory. The next round we had was in Brazil, and I started behind again, of course, and I got a really good line through the Sana S's, and HSV very wide there on the third apex, and I got a really good run onto this straight here that's going towards turn 4, I think it is, but he managed just to hold it on the outside, although going a little bit wide. We get a really good run off the corner. We try and go around the outside of this sweeper that goes uphill. Is it possible? Oh, we've been spun out even before that corner. And the move is going to be completed though. And a bit of a lock up, so just making sure that we stay in the lead here. Yes, we have maintained it through this next left-hander. And I maintained the lead until the start of the final lap with a massive dive bomb from the Force India pushing me wide. I thought I still had the lead though, until here he just drives off the track to get past and then proceeds to push me very wide. And there's still a little bit of interlocking of wheels. Can't believe we didn't actually just crash into the wall completely then. And finally I'm fed quite wide there. Very hard racing from HSV, but you know. Then we went and cut the corner to try and get past, so I had to let him back through again, and I ultimately couldn't get past. I'm not sure exactly how fair this race was, but I don't want to cause any controversy by saying that was illegal manoeuvres, so it went down to a decider at Singapore, and as well Murph, who was spectator for these races, he wasn't really sure which way either of the previous rounds should have gone. I almost threw it all the way there, getting very sideways at a curb, but thankfully I didn't lose it completely as HSV cuts that corner quite largely. I knew it'd be a really hard task to get past me, even as he makes a mistake, I'm unable to get past there. And it's actually the last lap and he's still in front, and this could be my competition completely over. I could be out of the tournament in the quarterfinals. We got a very good run down Raffles Boulevard. There's a bit of blocking going on here. I got to the outside at the last second and cut back in, getting the move done. I did slightly cut the corner according to the game. We've been fed wide into the wall, so that wasn't very nice. We still have the lead. We'd have to go on with it and let spectator Murph decide whether that cut was actually a cut or not. But maybe it won't matter as HSV has found the wall. There's yellow flags and he's retired, so that'll be a formality. And I celebrate my victory and progression to the semi-finals, 2-1 against a very aggressive HSV. But congratulations to him for not falling by the wayside 2-0. Finally, it's Danny Rocks versus Bungie. At least that's what was scheduled, but Bungie unavailable, so it was actually Danny Rocks versus his replacement Trickshot, who he nominated to face Danny. Danny started behind here in Austria, and Trickshot taking a very inside line through turn 1, actually cutting the corner, I believe. But Danny, not perturbed by that too much, actually runs into the back of Trickshot there. He's going very slowly through these final 2 corners, but does not make the overtake because of the collision, and goes instead for a move down the inside of turn 1. There's no contact, but she gets very sideways there. It looks like Trickshot did exactly the same thing, and after that manoeuvre, she stretches the advantage quite a lot in just this short lap. Two laps, gets around 5 seconds ahead and takes the Austrian Grand Prix. She starts behind again in Monza, but we all know how good she is at Monza. And Trickshot, though, still down the inside. There's a little bit of contact there, and Trickshot gets a better line and gets good traction out of the first chicane. Through Ascari, though, Danny's all over him, and even though she got a little bit of wheel spin through there, she has a very good run towards the Parabolica, diving in and out for a bit of slipstream, but she's ultimately down the inside. Can she get this done? Ooh, a little bit of lag, and she's down the inside. Move done, but Trickshot is not done. He's got a really good run coming out of the Parabolica. This is probably his final shot. If he doesn't get it done here, you'd imagine Danny will run away with it, and he goes far too deep into the first chicane. And that's all she wrote. Danny off into the lead through Curva Grande, and by the end of the race has quite a large lead once again, and is the only person to progress to the semi-finals with a 2-0 victory. So congratulations to the 4 people who made it through. Interestingly, Danny is still undefeated through the competition, and was the only person to take a 2-0 victory in that whole round. 4 wins came from behind from both her and myself. Other than that, it was all from pole. Finally, a reminder of who's through and who's eliminated. We're looking forward to the semi-finals. I've been Jacko. See you then.